Today we have Lori Driggs, writer of the published children's book called The Hymn of the Pearl. This book is a simplified retelling of an ancient Christian Gnostic text of a child of heavenly parents sent on a mission to retrieve a pearl. This book is one of the most loved children's books in my home. And I wanted to welcome Lori Driggs to come on and share the tale of the Hymn of the Pearl and her story with this beautiful retelling.
Tell me about how you came across the Hymn of the Pearl and what moved you to turn it into a children's book.
So I first heard about it years ago when John Welch wrote an article for Farms, which was the Foundation for Ancient Research and Mormon Studies at BYU. And it doesn't exist anymore, but he had written an article comparing it to Oh My Father as an ancient counterpart to Oh My Father. And I had this article for years and had forgotten about it. And then Mandy Green was teaching an institute class at our stake and reminded us of it again. And I just loved it. And during COVID one Sunday night, I had my family over and I wanted to share it with them. But I thought, oh, it's long. It's translated from Greek and Syriac and it's missing some pieces and I'll probably just lose the little kids. And so I didn't. But that night I thought, oh, that would make a beautiful children's book. Mm-hmm. But who am I to do a children's book? I mean, I'd never done that before, but I really felt guided and just kind of pushed every day to do this, what are you going to do today about this, So when I was feeling very unconfident about it, I heard Molly Bonner on a podcast and he was just doing the movie Green Flake and he'd never made a movie before. And he said, you don't have to know what you're doing to do what you have to do. And so that gave me hope. I thought, okay, if he can do a movie, I can do a book. So anyway, I started looking online for artists and had seen some that I liked, and then came across A Girl's Guide to Heavenly Mother by MacArthur Krishner and Bethany Spalding. And it had just come up, and I saw that beautiful image of Tshikambas made in her image. And then I kind of started somehow following her from there and saw her beautiful picture of Aset and Heru, which is, of course, the beautiful Egyptian queen or heavenly mother and son. And I just knew I needed her to illustrate the book. And so I sent her a DM, and a couple of days later, she said, oh, I'd love to meet you for lunch. She said, I've been asked to do a few books, but they're not my thing, but this is my thing. And so I was so thrilled about that, so thrilled. And so she also, it's a story of a boy, but she wanted to change it to a girl. And at first I was worried about that, but after talking to my adult kids and her, I felt like, okay, we should do this. And I'm so glad she talked us into doing that. We had a cute Black girl come to the art show that we did down at Written Vision. And she said, I've never seen myself as the heroine of a book before. And so, I mean, it was worth it. That one comment was worth it. So beautiful. And then because Mandy had reintroduced it to me, I felt like she needed to go on the journey with me. And so she was thrilled. And she said, I'll write the essay in the back. And we just had a wonderful collaboration between the three of us doing it. So
what I love about your story is that you felt inspired to move towards doing something that you didn't have any background in, but all the pieces came together and you obviously had a specific calling to put this book together. And yeah. I know that it has blessed me and my family, and I'm excited to share it with the rest of my family. In fact, after this, I want to set up with you a way to purchase some for all of my family because I just think it is the most beautiful book. It is great for children and for adults. It's very applicable for our life at this time, and it's just so beautifully done.
And Melissa's artwork is, and that's Tshikamba. She goes by Tshikamba, in case anyone is wondering, but it's Melissa Kamba Boggs. And her artwork is just so beautiful.
It's spectacular. It really is. It just
Yes.
captures the children's imaginations. They love to look at it. I will find them looking at the book. Like, I'll just walk in their room and they'll have it open looking at the pages because the artwork
I
is so
know.
beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
it is beautiful.
Yeah. And I happen to have my cute daughter-in-law here that is a poet and an artist, and she said she would come and read it to you today. So I'm so thrilled about that because she has this most beautiful reading voice. So
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that everyone is going to be able to hear the words of your book. And so let's introduce your daughter. Her name.
River Wood, and she does art and she does poetry. I think she's working right now on a book to combine both her art and her poetry together. So you can find her at riverwoodspeaks.com or on Instagram. So grateful she happened to be here today and we'll do this. So
Great. River, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being willing to read this beautiful rendition of the Hymn of the Pearl. And so if you wouldn't mind just jumping in so we can enjoy this beautiful retelling.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a little child, I lived in the kingdom of my mother and father. I delighted in the glory and splendor of my beautiful surroundings and those who raised me. My parents made a covenant with me and wrote it in my heart that I should never forget it. If you go down into Egypt and bring the one pearl, which is in the midst of the sea, encircled about by the loud-breathing serpent, then you will put on again your robe of glory and your purple cloak over it, and with your brother, our next in glory, you shall be an heir to our kingdom. They filled a pack full for me from their great treasures, gold, silver, rubies, and diamonds that can crush iron. It was large, yet so light that I could carry it alone. My mother removed my purple cloak, which was woven to fit me perfectly. My father took off my robe of glory, which they had made for me with love. From our home, they sent me forth, providing me with all that I needed. I left the East and began my journey attended by 2 guardians. The way was dangerous and difficult, and I was very young to go alone. I traveled the borders of the eastern lands on my way into Egypt, and there my companions parted from me. I went straight to the serpent and settled near his home in the sea. I planned to wait until he slumbered. Then I would take the pearl from him. I was all alone, a stranger to the other travelers, when a fellow kinsman from the Dawnland joined me. He was a noble friend. He warned me against the trickery of the land, but I had no fear. Lest they think I was a stranger coming for the pearl, I dressed in their clothes. But in some way or another, they learned that I was not from their country. They did indeed fool me with kindness and gave me rich food to eat. I forgot that I was a child of a queen and king, and I began to serve their king. I forgot the pearl for which my parents had sent me. Through my ease and comfort, I sank into a deep and forgetful sleep. My parents watched from our home, concerned and sorrowful. They published a proclamation that all should come to our gate. Kings and queens, princes and princesses, and all the nobles of the East came. They made a plan on my behalf that I might not be lost in Egypt. They wrote me a letter and signed their names to it. From your father, the King of Kings, your mother, the Queen of the Dawnland, and your brother, our next in glory. To our child who is in Egypt, greetings. Arise from your sleep and listen to the words of our letter. Remember that you are a child of a king and queen, so be aware of whom you serve. Be mindful of the pearl we sent you to Egypt to seek. Remember your robe of glory and your beautiful purple cloak. One day you shall put them on again, when your name is spoken in the midst of the valiant. When with your brother, our beloved, you shall be an heir to our kingdom. The letter awoke me from my deep sleep. I took it and kissed it. I remembered that I was a child of royal parents. My soul longed for its true home. I remembered the pearl for which I was sent to Egypt. I began to charm the terrible, loud-breathing serpent. I hushed him to sleep and lulled him into slumber. My father's name I named over him, and of my mother, the Queen of the East, and the name of our brother, the next in glory. I snatched away the pearl and turned to go back to my parents' house. The strange and dirty clothes I was wearing, I took off and left in their country. I made my way straight to the light of our home, the East. I found my letter on the road before me. As its voice had awakened me, so with its light, it now led me. With its love and guidance, it encouraged me to go quickly. My parents sent me my robe of glory, which I had taken off, and my cloak, which went over it. I had forgotten its beauty and splendor, having left it as a child in my parents' house. It was adorned with glorious colors, with gold, rubies, sapphires, and agates. Love urged me to run, to meet it and receive it. Immediately, when I embraced it, the robe became a mirror of myself. Images of the king and queen were woven all over it. I was covered completely in my cloak. Clothed in my royal robes, I approached the gate of salutation and adoration. I bowed my head with great respect to the majesty of them who sent it to me. I had fulfilled my covenant as they had fulfilled theirs. At the gate of their princes and princesses, I mingled with their nobles. My brother rejoiced in me and received me with gladness. I was with him in his kingdom, where all of his servants, with sweet-sounding voices, sing praises. As he had promised, we left speedily to the royal court, taking with me my pearl, where I was reunited with my mother and father, the king and queen.
Thank you so much for doing that for me.
As she was reading it, I was just flipping through my own copy of the book and just re-indulging in all the beauty of the illustration. I'm so grateful that you followed those promptings to dive into something that, like, even you battled a little bit with, feeling like maybe I wasn't capable of doing this, but that you moved forward anyway and you obtained that pearl, that mission that you were sent on in your life to. I mean, I'm sure you've had many missions, right? But I'm grateful that you've accomplished this one. And so would you mind tell me a little bit of how this story impacted you in your life?
So I want to start with just telling you a little bit about it. So it comes from an apocryphal text called the Acts of Thomas. And that word apocryphal has changed through the centuries. I think sometimes it has a negative connotation to us in our day. But in ancient Christian usage, it originally meant a text read in private rather than in public church meetings. And it was first applied to writings which were kept secret because they were considered too profound or sacred to be disclosed to anyone other than the initiated. So I found that very interesting. I don't recommend the book to you. It's quite a strange book, but hidden in it is this little gem, this Hymn of the Pearl. And you can just see that it's loved by many people throughout the world in different faith traditions, and even Buddhist and Hindu traditions. People have loved this story. So Thomas was imprisoned in India, where he had been teaching the gospel. I guess it said that he died even in India. And so he's praying and those that are around him begged him to pray for them as well. And when he had prayed, he sat down and began to chant this hymn. And it also reminded me of Carthage jail, when Joseph and Hiram asked John Taylor if he would sing a poor wayfaring man of grief while they were imprisoned in Carthage. So I think that's interesting to know kind of where it comes from. So I thought I could just go through the different pages with you and kind of explain, why we did what we did and what they mean to me, if that's okay. Does that sound okay? So I wish we had, it was on that we had the video so everyone could see these pages, but you're just going to have to get a copy and then watch it again with my description. So the first page is the beautiful kingdom in the clouds. I think once upon a time, all of our great stories start with once upon a time. And I think that's how we all feel about this. I was just reading Susan Cain's lovely book, Bittersweet. I don't know if you've ever read that, but it begins with this beautiful quote by O. Wickstrom. And he says, Gregory the Great spoke about compunctio, the holy pain, the grief somebody feels when faced with that which is most beautiful. The bittersweet experience stems from human homelessness in an imperfect world, human consciousness of, and at the same time, a desire for perfection. This inner spiritual void becomes painfully real when faced with beauty. There, between the lost and the desired, the holy tears are formed. I thought that was so beautiful. And then another quote, she said, and then homesick we are, and always for another and different world. And that's Vita Sackville West. So in the Judeo-Christian tradition, it's the kingdom of heaven. The Sufis call it the beloved of the soul. I love that too. There are countless other names for it, simply home or somewhere over the rainbow. And C.S. Lewis calls it the place where all the beauty comes from. And in some fundamental way, we're all reaching for the heavens. And that's Susan Cain too, from her beautiful book. So page 2 is the child reading the covenant before she goes down to Egypt. And you'll notice right from the start, we're talking about heavenly parents. The mother is in here, and this is like a first century document.
Yeah, I want to kind of make a point about that,
Yes.
because you didn't just add the mother into this in your own writing. This actually was included in Thomas's rendition from the very beginning. She's
definitely there in there. And many times she's there. We just made it more always that when Heavenly Father was there, we put Heavenly Mother, but she's there from the beginning. The story is.
That is actually something that I love about a lot of Apocrypha text, is that the Heavenly Mother is not written out of many of them. And so it's nice to see that and see what kind of the apostasy did to the scriptures, to the Old Testament and the New Testament, of writing out the entire divine family as a unit, and to see that was originally there in those texts. So I am grateful that people can have exposure to that through this book. And also, if it piques your interest, Apocrypha text is really beautiful. It also takes a lot of discerning, because there is all kinds of interesting things in there.
And I think the Gospel of Thomas, there's also the Gospel of Thomas. This is the Acts of Thomas. I think that one's probably a little easier read than the Acts of Thomas. It's kind of a strange book, but this little gem is hidden in there. So,
well, there's a lot of strange books in the Old Testament and the New Testament too.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there are. Yes, definitely. So it's a ritual text, which means it's going to teach us about the ascension, which is beautiful. And Egypt represents the profane world. And we're cutting a covenant, because covenants are always cut. In Hebrew, that's the word they use, to cut a covenant. And we're being challenged to grow and learn and become. And I think it's important here to look at the word serpent. In Hebrew, that's another name for Christ. Serpent and Messiah have the same number. They add up because each letter in Hebrew is also a number. So each word can add up to a number. And if they have the same number, they're used interchangeably, which is interesting. But Satan is the great deceiver who uses this image for himself. Mandy also taught us that the Savior is the clockwise serpent who creates order. And Satan is the counterclockwise serpent who creates chaos.
I love this iconography. Is that what it's called? Because the serpent, right? When we read the Old Testament, they talk about how Moses held the serpent up and everyone was healed. And I, for a long time, didn't understand because it felt like there had to be clashing there with the serpent, right? With the serpent being the great tempter in the Garden of Eden and being the symbol of Satan, but like, how is it also a symbol of healing and things that coincide with Christ? And so that's beautiful. Thank you so much for explaining that.
Yes, isn't that beautiful? I know. I love that. And that's probably thanks to Rebecca Stay, who taught us that years ago in an institute class. So
that is really cool. Also, in Kundalini practices, they have the symbol of the serpent, and it is two serpents, one going clockwise and one going counterclockwise. And that's really interesting because it's one of the oldest traditions, spiritual traditions on the earth that we know of at this time. So fascinating.
and that's what I picked up. Margaret Barker has a new book called The Great Lady that just came out this year. And I happened to pick that up when I was going through these notes the other night. And she also said the snake was an ancient symbol of wisdom.
Right.
Figurines of goddesses holding snakes in both hands have been found in Crete. And in Greece, the snake staff became the symbol of healing.
Right.
So,
and it's still used as the symbol of healing. You will see outside of hospitals many times a staff with two circular figurines around it. Those are basically snakes. It's an ancient symbol of healing.
So that's beautiful. So and it's important we've been taking Hebrew for 5 years. We have a cute gal named Jen Sotis that comes to my house and has been teaching us. We're really slow at it, but we're learning little by little. But the important thing she always says is that it's just not one thing. Like we can say, oh, is it the Savior? Is it the mother? It's always more than one in Hebrew. There's so many. One symbol can mean so many things. So we never want to, in our Western world, we like to just think, okay, it's this, and but in Hebrew, it's multi-images, multi-meaning.
That brings to mind the scriptures in the Book of Mormon where it talks about opposition in all things, and like you have to have both.
Yes, true. The proving contraries, right? That's so powerful. So then on page 3, we have our Heavenly Mother and Father removing her robes and filling her backpack with precious jewels. And it's a gorgeous page. I got that original too because I love it so much. And for this page, I highly recommend reading The Treasures in the Heavens by Hugh Nibley. It's a beautiful article that he's done on this. And in it, he quotes a saying attributed to Jesus, but not in the canonical books. And it says, if you could see your real image, which came into being before you, then you would be willing to endure anything. And that reminds me of the beautiful quote by Hafiz that says, I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. And I think those are beautiful, beautiful quotes. So it said the robes are removed and placed under the throne awaiting your return, and that the garment represents premortal glory was recognized very early. So beautiful. And I even had a lady come up to me at an event and say, for the first time, I've really understood my garments and appreciate wearing them. And I thought, oh, that was beautiful too. If we can do that for anyone, that's beautiful. And also, when I was first reading it, the copy I was reading had the word adamant in it with the rubies and sapphires. And I thought, oh, I can take out adamant. I didn't even really know what adamant was. But as I began to study it and I learned that it was diamond, and that the prevailing of the diamond over steel signifies the true nature of the spirit can never be entirely destroyed by earthly elements. And at that time, I've been suffering with some clinical depression and anxiety. And I know you've talked about going through that as well. And it's hard. It sucks your soul away. It's hard. And I remember reading that and thinking, okay, I'm going to be okay. I can't be completely destroyed. So I've got to leave diamonds in for sure. So
Thank you for putting in that extra symbolization. I love thinking about that. I feel like tapping into who I was premortally and understanding that probably the most important part of my healing journey.
yes, I think that's so true. It's hard. This life is hard.
It's hard. It's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget who you really are.
Yes. And when you're in that place and those intrusive thoughts that just beat down on you, it was hard. It gave me a new appreciation for everyone on this planet and however they need to get through this life.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard. A lot of empathy after going through that for sure. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that was for sure helpful for me during that time. And then the next page, we have the little girl starting out with her little backpack, leaving her heavenly parents. And we wanted to show different children so that kids realized they all were going to take this journey, but it was kind of hard. But we did get one other little redheaded girl right behind, ready to come down. So we wanted them to know. At first we thought, should we do a different page of a boy and a girl of different ethnicities, different races, but then we thought, oh, they're going to be too confused by all of that. But we wanted them to know it's everyone's going on this journey. So, and Mandy said about this page that I love, heaven says you have everything you need. The world says you are not enough. And then we have Instagram telling us everything we need. I love that little part of that page. So, and then on page 4, we have her leaving her guides and going into the wilderness of Egypt. And different people think of those guides differently. One person even said that could be her earthly parents. It's kind of like the way I like to think about it is, that she has these heavenly parents, also earthly parents. But Nibley says this part represents arriving at the place of transition between worlds. And he always talks about anytime we pass through a veil, we have this transition where we're in a garden place. We're in a place of rest before we go on to the next space. It's the in-between, neither heaven nor earth, a creation room, the place where the hero must change her clothes and part with her heavenly guides who can accompany her no further. And there's this beautiful Jewish midrash that I have to share with you here that I just love. And we tried to somehow put it in, but it was too hard. So at the moment of conception, the following is said to occur in heaven, in the sphere of the other. The soul is told you are to come to earth in that body which is being prepared for you. To this, the soul replies, thank you kindly, but I'd rather not. It is terrible there. Leaving paradise would be a sacrifice. I am now with God. Everything is in the most wondrous harmony. I am content with my situation. I am at home with myself. Why must I go? The answer is because something has been created. Two beings have come together in a divinely creative act. The deed, once consummated, has eternal consequences. The soul protests the creation. She said, let this cup pass by me. Take someone else. Why me? She literally retreats, is mistrustful, has terrible fear of what will come, and refuses to go. Then comes an angel. An angel is an act of God which emerges with creation. This angel says to the soul, I will now let you see everything. You will learn the meaning of existence, of which you have such fear. The angel then instructs the soul in the Torah, in the Bible. He tells her the meaning of everything from beginning to end. This happens outside of time. To take the time needed to tell everything would require billions of years, but the telling of this story is compressed into the 9 months of pregnancy. The angel tells the soul not only its own life, but the life of everything, every blade of grass, every cloud, every human born on earth. He relates why things happen as they do and why they cannot happen otherwise. The soul finds this instruction utterly marvelous. She thinks, now with this wisdom, I go to the world. I will be the most valiant of souls on earth. But the angel says, one last thing before you are born. I have one final task. Knowing all things, you would of course serve God most valiantly. But if you possess this knowledge consciously, you would not be able to act in the image of God. You are, after all, a spark of God. You come from the house of God. Therefore, I now take this knowledge from you so that you may bring a pure sacrifice, so that you may serve in pure love, hope, and faith. These things will not be known to you on earth consciously, but will be retained only subliminally. The angel then gives her, it is said, and this is to be taken in a concrete sense, a pat under the nose, which is the indentation in our upper lip. And through this split in the upper lip, she forgets everything. The knowledge she has gained remains only in her unconscious. So that's kind of a fun little story.
I love that story. I actually participate in a Waldorf education co-op. And whenever we celebrate a child's birthday, we tell them this same story. It's the story of the transition. We talk about them being with their heavenly parents in heaven and how they were clothed with a robe of glory, and then how they come to this transition place where an angel guardian is showing them all the beauty of the earth, and they become excited to come into the world and join their family. And they wear like a little crown. They get a crown when they come through or go over the rainbow bridge to their family. And then we talk about each year what they've learned and accomplished. And they walk around this little circle. And that is how the birthdays are celebrated in a Waldorf tradition. It's really, really beautiful. I love that approach to education because it really supports each child's personal spiritual development.
That's beautiful. So fun. That is a beautiful tale. So page 4, we have her leaving her guides. We just talked about that. Oh, and the bees on this page as well. And I love what Hugh Nibley says of the bee also. So we have to say this. The bee is before all creatures the sponsor, inspiration, and guide of the great trek. As a creature of the pre-existent or pre-diluvian world, and all but sole survivor of the catastrophes that desolated the earth, the bee is first to arrive on the scene and start things going again in the new world. In the first of all migrations, Adam and Eve were accompanied and guided by the bees as they moved from the garden into the outer dark world. The bees brought with them the primordial creative divine power. Their honey, made by the bees of paradise, is the food of heaven.
That's so interesting. I love that. I've also, as in my studies of searching for Heavenly Mother, I've found that bees are a symbol of Heavenly Mother.
Yes, and Melissa uses them, as you'll notice, a lot in her artwork. And her name, Melissa, also means bee. I think in Greek it means bee. So
yeah. If you go and see many goddess sculptures in European areas, you will see honeycomb designs on the robes of goddesses. And
so we had to have bees. I said, you have to put some bees on there. So fun. So then we have the girl looking at the water from her balcony where the serpent is. And I just love, one scholar said this: here you see the naivety of youth, confident in her power to match wits with the serpent and win at once. But that's just how we are when we're young. Like, we know it all. We can do this.
You have that courage and that faith. You have to have it, even if it is naive, but it's essential to pushing you forward to accomplishing your mission in the same time. Yeah.
So beautiful. I just love that was from a little scholar. So then on page 6, we have the girl with a young man offering her some food. And there are a lot of interpretations of this too, but the simplest to me is the most beautiful. At the time I was working on it, I had a son who said of a friend who was teaching him of Christ, he is a noble friend. And I love that so much, that I was really working on that page at the time, and I had to put that little line in there. So I love that. Then we have page 7 of the girl and the others at the banquet, where we just see their feet. And this is one of the first ones we talked about when we were discussing the art, and we wanted to just see, that low level look of what it is down here, and then you think about your cell phone, we're all looking down, right? If we're not careful, we don't look up enough. And so there's spilled wine, there's a mouse, and we did sneak in a pearl on about every page. We might have missed one, but we tried to. So that's fun to have kids look for the pearl.
I am going to do that with my children the next time that we read through it.
So sometimes it might just be the moon, but a lot of times there's a little pearl on the page. So, and so, yeah, that's a fun thing. So everything here is an imitation of the real, and it's just tricky. Like we talked about Satan being that imitation. So it requires a lot of discernment, and many of those around us will make us forget who we are and why we came here. And it's so important. And I think that's why our leaders so often tell us to remember who we are and whose we are. And that always reminds me of Max Lucado's book, You Are Special. I'm sure you've read that.
Yes.
Yes, the little wooden people, Punchinello and Lucia, and how she teaches him to go up and talk to his maker, and then the stickers won't stick. And I think of that every morning when I start my prayer. I think I'm going to hike up into the mountain and see my maker and just chat with him today and remember who I am. So that's one of my favorite little books. Then we have page 8, the girl asleep with the heavenly parents weeping over her. And Melissa was able to do that painting in one day. She said, I just got inspired and did that whole thing in one day. And it's beautiful too.
It's my favorite one in the entire book.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful.
I know. And not all of them came that fast, but she said that one just for some reason, whoosh, came to her.
Inspired with that one.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think we all know there's so many ways that we fall asleep in this life, right? Busyness, indifference, TV, social media, addictions, control. I mean, we could go on and on. But it's so nice to know we are known by our heavenly parents in the cosmic world, and they're waiting the minute we reach out. They're waiting to turn and help us. So
the way that they are weeping over her, and their tears just flow over the entire image.
I know.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
It touches my heart.
I know. She really did a beautiful job. I know it was inspiring to have her do it for me. So it really was a sweet collaboration for sure. So I'm grateful for her great work. And then, of course, we have the beautiful picture of the phoenix, who is the bird of the resurrection. And that page is our middle page that we have no words on. And the phoenix is bringing this beautiful letter from her heavenly parents. And there's an ancient tale that if you see a feather, an angel has been there. So on the next page, we dropped a few little feathers too. So that's beautiful. I know.
I didn't know that was the phoenix.
Yeah. And I don't know that, I mean, it's her version of it, but it's how we felt, in one of them, it does talk about the phoenix, and there's many translations of it, but of the Hymn of the Pearl, but they also use the eagle in one of them. But yeah, any one of these majestic, but I like the phoenix because it's the bird of the resurrection. That's so sweet. So and then we have the girl reading the letter, which is another beautiful page. And it talks about it being written in red. So I had to make sure that letter was written in red. I think that's very symbolic as well. And what I love about the letter is that there's no chastening. It's just a reminder of who she is and what she has come here to do. It's so sweet. And Hugh Nibley said, in the vision given to Joseph Smith in 1832, which is D&C 76, It is plain that those who are valiant obtain the crown along with the sun, which to me is absolutely overwhelming right there. Here we have the explanation for leaving one's happy heavenly home for a sojourn in a wicked world. Only so can one overcome and be written in the book of heroes. Without confronting and overcoming the powers of darkness, no one can lay claim to the highest glory, the kingship itself. Hence the need for the danger and the struggle here below, which is beautiful. It gives you reason to make it through those struggles that we have, right? And he says this letter is the same as the book of breathing. It's leading the candidate to its heavenly goal. So I love that too.
I do feel inspired to just say, in my own personal journey, when I've gone through things that have helped me actually heal, it has always been through a gentle prodding of inspiring me to live into who I actually am from my divine team, whether it be Heavenly Mother inspiring me and just gently reminding me, these choices you're making aren't in line with who you are.
Yes, it's always so sweet, isn't it? Oh, and it's always sweet. It's always loving. And I mean, even when you want to fight back with it, it just continues to be loving and kind. So it's way too.
I just love how God never inspires us to change through fear, never inspires us to change through shame. It's always inspiring us to change through helping us know who we are, and just in the most gentle, loving, forgiving, grace-filled ways.
He's not going to ever give up. So love that. And then we have the girl paddling toward the giant serpent in the chaotic waters. And so this is kind of the story is a chiasm. And so this letter serves as the turning point in the chiasm, the middle of the chiasm. So everything from this point on is in reverse. And it's a beautiful tie into the pyramid rites and the temple ordinances. It's one eternal round of descending and ascending again. And that is what we are doing. And that is how we are growing and reaching higher levels. So I love that. And then, of course, the girl confronting the serpent, which is my all-time favorite. And I have that. I got the original of that too, because it's so beautiful. And she's so courageous when she remembers who she is, right? And I mean, her mother is the Queen of the East. And it said a daughter of the dawn is one who has reached great power. And we love her natural hair in this too. And Melissa told us that Black girls, when they're able to wear their hair natural like this, is when they feel the most free. They're not conforming to the world and how the world, wants their hair down. Yeah. So we love that. Her hair just flying back and the power of her confronting that.
The courage. She just is standing there face to face with the serpent with so much bravery.
Yes.
You can see in her stance. It's just this powerful stance as she stares down that serpent and knows exactly what she's there for.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You feel that power in the picture, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So beautiful. And then we have the page where she is returning to the Dawnland, to her heavenly home. She's passed through the trials of the dark underworld. She has reached the transition place, the horizon of the east, where she may at last receive her heavenly garment. And that's Hugh Nibley. And I recently read The Doors of Faith by Terrell Givens, and I loved this. He said, our foundational story tells us that the world was created so that God could prove us herewith. However, my mind recoils at the specter of a God hiding himself from us to see if we will obey in the absence of fear, like a child left with a cupcake and a hidden camera to test her mettle. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary suggests a magnificent alternative to our reading of Abraham 3:25. Prove, the term's very first entry explains, means to ascertain some unknown quality, to gain certain knowledge by the operation of something on ourselves. Now that is an undertaking to embrace rather than resent. Perhaps we are set adrift in this world of obscurity and turmoil and trial so that we can fight our way through to genuine self-knowledge, finding a way to let our compass needle swing free amidst the din. And in that discovery, we may find a way forward to cultivate and nourish and expand the unknown quality that hides within. So I think that's a beautiful way to think of it.
Yes, I love that. It's so interesting when you learn a new definition of a word. Instead of like this testing, it's more of just this acquiring of knowledge.
Yes. And I think we've heard that someone once said Abraham needed to learn about Abraham when he was offering Isaac. And so that's the same kind of feel, like he needed to know what he was capable of, where his heart was. So I think that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So then we have the girl walking up to the castle, and she's walking through the trees that are great symbols. So beautiful. And then she receives her robe of glory. And in one translation, it says, I heard it speak with them that had brought it. I detected the song of its song, which it whispered to those who brought it. And that's beautiful. There's another Max Lucado story called The Song of the King, where he has 3 knights go into the forest to see who's the bravest to win his daughter. And it's just so sweet. And the one takes his son, who has the same flute that he does, that he's going to play 3 times a day. And so he has him with him, so he's not distracted by all these other flutes that try to play a song, again, the imitation. So that's a fun story to read to your children too. But read that sometime. That's beautiful. And Elder Holland said, in singing the anthems of eternity, we should stand as close as humanly possible to the Savior and Redeemer of the world, who has absolutely perfect pitch. I love that. And there's also clothing, wrapping, ritual embrace symbolized here, as well as connections with the veil of the temple. So it's fun to go and read Hugh Nibley. He has a whole chapter in the Egyptian endowment that's beautiful to read on the Hymn of the Pearl as well. And then, of course, the girl handing the pearl to the Savior. And then he takes her to the mother and father in heaven. And just like God told Moses, I have a work for thee, my son. We all have a work here to do. President Nielsen said, ask your Heavenly Father in the name of Jesus Christ how he feels about you and your mission here on earth. If you ask with real intent, over time, the Spirit will whisper the life-changing truths to you. Record those impressions, review them often, and follow through with exactness. I promise you that when you catch even a glimpse of how your Heavenly Father sees you and what he is counting on you to do for him, your life will never be the same. Go to the temple and listen for who you are and what you will do. And I think that's a beautiful way to end.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful story. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for sharing all of those extra connections and things that you've kind of built into the book. And I know that a lot of people are really going to enjoy reading this book and listening to this podcast. So thank you so much for coming on. How has Heavenly Mother personally influenced your life?
That's so sweet of a question, because my first child was born. She was a little girl, and one night in bed, she was just crying for mother. I can't remember what word she exactly used. Mom. She was little, but I went in there and I could tell it wasn't me she was looking for. She wanted her Heavenly Mother. Years later, even talking to this when she was a little girl, telling her that she had this connection with a Heavenly Mother that was so sweet, and the story of what had happened when she was young. And she's carried that with her through her life. And, it's been very sacred to her and to me that she is there and she knows this and we know her.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that beautiful, sacred experience that you and your daughter both have had with our Mother God. And thank you for heeding the call to create this simplified retelling for children of the Hymn of the Pearl. I really hope that your story will serve as an inspiration to others who are feeling that gentle prodding to do something outside their comfort zone. And we have a special treat for our listeners today. If you're interested in buying a copy of The Hymn of the Pearl, you can do so with a special discount. Just go to thehymnofthepearl.com and use In Her Image at checkout. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode and feel free to share it. And if you haven't yet, please leave us a review. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can by making a monthly donation at anchor.fm/In Her Image. Tune in next Sunday for another inspiring episode.